Hello everyone, this is Menz here. I'm going to be doing a recording of the new map, Hinterland here. This is a new 30v30 Grand Battle map coming out in 1.3, if everything goes well with the tests on the test server here. Now, this map, currently Grand Battles are only available for tier 10s, special events for tier 8s apparently, with the current event going on. But more or less, this is not your typical 15 versus 15 map. It's similar in size to Klondike, also Nebelberg, which everybody loves. And more or less, let's see what this map actually holds for us here. Now, kind of looking at the map, more or less, there's a town in the center and a lot of open ground outside of it. Kind of the reverse of Nebelberg in a way, to where, kind of the outer flanks are going to be the flanks that basically, you're going to have lights, mediums, possibly like some TDs that have no armor, a little bit more mobile. Like, they're going to play out this way. Otherwise, though, the map is largely going to be centered around the center here, to where you have a lot of different options. Excuse me with the speed here. Try to slow it down a little bit. Just doing a kind of look at the town here. You're going to be playing south, north, coming in, basically top to bottom. And the way it looks just at first glance, you kind of have the first little spot you're going to have people fighting. And, you're going to be taking shots from the outer flank here potentially. And like even this little church slash I guess mosque area. I could be probably completely off there, but you have the center as well, and then you also have like the northern slash like eastern part of the town with this large hill kind of on it too. So this is what I think is going to be the main like brawling area here, which let me move my camera here so it's a little bit less obstructive. When it breaks down this map, it reminds me of Nebelberg, just kind of the inverse, to where Nebelberg, you kind of have the center that kind of fires outwards on the outer flanks, whereas this is going to be people playing the center but getting fired inwards, while the center is going to be the main flank, whereas Nebelberg, usually the outer flanks have more people on it. So basically in the town here, it looks like you're largely going to be, if you're in the center, getting hit by Artie, obviously, in certain spots. But you're mainly going to be fighting tanks in the center. There's a lot of little rubble piles kind of spread throughout the town. So it's going to be kind of like, fighting street to street. And then as you get to the outer flanks, there's still cover, but there's more little holes and less artillery cover, so you can get shot in from the outer flanks. So let's move over to this flank here, to where honestly, like over in this corner down here and the upper right corner, any corner in general, obviously this map, there's a lot of dead space, to where it doesn't look like many people are going to be out here, unless like it's late in the game or you have some people camping, like maybe some SPGs head out here to kind of get themselves out of the fight. But like there's not too much as far as like gameplay elements out here. There's a building here and there's obviously like distance, but there's no real reason to like put tanks down here outside of sitting behind your team and just providing support. But you need the tanks actually to push out on this flank, basically not just to this building here, but also to where you kind of have this slightly raised hill in this area, where provides already cover, provides you like no line of sight to the center unless you get up on top. But you're gonna find a lot of people brawling basically between the two flanks, basically meeting here. And then the winner, you either can keep pushing, you can start heading towards the center, and of course you have the building here to where either side can kind of set up and support each way at a risk of getting stuck there. The word gameplay design, it's really wide open here. Really the only class that's going to suffer is really slow, like super heavy, slow TDs, because basically you have this open ground with enough terrain difference to where you can kind of use gun depression, stuff like that, and it's not just flat, you're gonna die. You have this kind of riverbed here too that provides you definitely a flank, but with this spot back here, and also tanks basically sitting back here potentially or further back, there's no real cover to push through there, especially early on, unless you know nobody's at the end. But basically this flank, I'm going to get to the other flank over there. I think this is the better of the two, since it does provide kind of two different areas to play, and it's separate from the town. Now let's speed this up a little bit and get over to this other flank, which compared to the other side, which there's not really anything going on here once you get to the edge of the town, this side has a pretty much a large hill to where not only are people going to be playing to kind of shoot either side of the town here, they're also going to be setting up here to kind of take pot shots this way, whether it's like a medium with gun depression or a heavy, or just like a light trying to spot people heading out here. You can do it from basically either side. Now, when it comes down to it, there's not a ton of cover if the enemy actually pushes up to the buildings here. You're going to get shot up and you're not going to be able to see those tanks. But it is a little bit different this side, given that there is a hill, and it does favor tanks with a little bit more gun depression over here, and also turret armor obviously. Now this side, definitely a lot less like cover, as far as there's still trees obviously in the dried up riverbed here, and you have a little bit of building action there. There's one back here and then one further up. But when you look at the other side compared to this side, if I can zoom out enough, that side has basically cover like horizontally almost, as far as like bushes and trees. So you can kind of set up tanks to like snipe from a distance and support, whether it's behind like a little hill with trees or just using distance and cover itself. This side, basically you have trees and a little hill here, but once you fire, they're not going to cover you, since you're at a much closer distance here than you would be if you're camping back in this area, supporting the center. So this is more of like possibly some heavy tanks could go here. If you don't want to go to the center, there is the risk of getting flanked from out here, but you're basically able to push along this dried up riverbed a little bit better than you are the other side in a slightly slower tank, albeit like getting to the massive amount of what I call dead space. Just looking at it here, this is like the main gameplay element here, this dried up riverbed, and then you have basically some tanks will be able to support from that way and this way, with further support behind it with the buildings and the trees. You have a lot of basically I'm trying to find the edge of the map here. You can see it basically lined up right here, where you have a lot of dead space back here, which obviously it doesn't provide as much on this side outside of just getting you like some raw like distance between you and the enemy team. But both areas are lower than the rest of the gameplay that you're going to find, or I should say game area that you find basically tanks are going to be fighting on. So looking out on this flank, it's going to be more heavily weighted on like say one light tank pushing out the spot, and then basically the team being behind, smacking people without being seen, and a couple tanks trying to make a little bit of headway in the dry riverbed, compared to the other side where I feel like wolf packs, like say 3-4 mediums, or more than that obviously with grand battles being together, will dominate a little bit more. But basically this flank's wide open, more so than the other side, which has a lot more like softer ground, and the way kind of the hills and stuff roll over there, that flank will play a little bit slower compared to this. Now, taking another look at the town, since I didn't look at it from this side, it basically plays the way that the teams are set up. South, north, to where, pushing into it, it almost looks like an X, honestly, to where you have kind of one main road going through here, and then kind of the railroad going through this way. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that works out with 30 tanks. you know, it's a lot of tanks to put on a map, even though it is large. The where the brawling in the town, like I feel like it's gonna be the main flank, but kind of like uh talking about how it's a reverse Nebelberg, you're still gonna need the outer flanks because it reminds me almost like thinking about it here with the town being in the center where like slower, heavy armor tanks go. And then you're gonna have some tanks setting up here too to kind of influence the fight out here. I don't feel like this flank will be as influenced from the town outside of like some people maybe sitting at the entrances of the town from their side and shooting out. It kind of reminds me of like Erlingberg in a way, to where yes, this is important to hold for your team and it's going to allow you to push up with some cover while brawling. But if you don't have the outer flanks, you're basically, once you lose, say, like an outer flank, since it's a grand battle, you know, you have a lot of tanks pouring in and they're going to be able to flank you, you know, get around to all this dead space and basically wreak havoc near your base and basically shoot you without you seeing them, and basically they're going to completely destroy you from the outside. And since the caps are basically located outside the town, it's going to be hard for you to push back out. Yes, you'll be able to shoot the person on the cap, but trying to like push out and, you know, kind of re-secure behind you is going to be really difficult. So it'll be interesting to see how this map actually unfolds. Like on the test server, there's a lot of problems with CPU usage. There's a huge bug. It basically makes it unplayable. Plus, there's not enough people on to where I haven't gotten a grand battle. Trying to play tier 10s, don't really see any grand battles popping up because there's not a lot of people again. So it'll be interesting to see how this map plays, because, you know, it's a little bit different than Nebelberg, thank God. Klondike, obviously, it's different than Klondike. That's a completely different map, balance-wise. So, you know, time will tell to see how this actually plays, to where, you know, I think the town's going to be the most important part, but the outer flanks don't seem bad either. They're just going to be difficult since they're really open. There's a lot of ground, and, you know, in a way like Nebelberg, with 30v30, putting that much emphasis on like spotting and good teamwork, like playing together in packs, like pushing aggressively when it makes sense, it's going to be interesting to see if it actually works. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the little peek of Hinterland here. It should release in 1.3 unless Wargaming decides to pull it. They did kind of cautiously say they're just testing this map to where, you know, I don't see any like problems on this map, like any like assets being broken, as far as you know, it gives you like visual bugs or like you fall through the ground or something. But, you know, if it doesn't work out balance wise, people playing on the map, if people even get it in the standard matchmaking queue, you know, they might hold it off for another patch. I think it'll be interesting, and without like playing a battle on it, it can't be worse than Nebelberg. You know, that map definitely turns a lot of people off of grand battles. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the little preview here, and have a very nice day. See you around.